Hi, welcome to this week's Fireside Chat. Don't tell anyone, but we're actually filming and recording this on Monday night instead of Tuesday morning. Do you think we can get away with it? Nevertheless, big thank you to Judy Zarubik, who is willing to make this change so we can record it at night. She does all the tech stuff and makes everything look really good, and I am so grateful for that. So thank you, Judy. It's interesting because I always have a self-perception that I'm a tech geek. I'm not really. I just enjoy it. But there you go. Now, I must admit, though, part of that is I love science. So this joke is based on the composition of water. After all, water is made up of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. Therefore, to get a water buffalo, for some of us, New Year's resolutions are fraught with the likelihood we may never follow through. As I get older, the more I appreciate the reality of this joke. I feel really well exercised. However, this cartoon is for those laboring to teach their kids at home. As we kiss goodbye to 2020, we are looking for something sweet in 2021. For those with cats, this will make sense every day. And the musicians among us will enjoy this pun. Here's an indication how powerfully the pandemic has affected even the movies. That last picture, declaring our experience of needing to keep our physical distance to keep everyone safe, is doubly ironic as I think of my former wife, Nancy. She works as a nurse at St. Mary's Hospital in Kitchener. Her job is actually as a discharge planner who supervises admissions as well. Because of the pandemic, however, she has been seconded to many other roles as the need arises. She posted this on her Facebook page just after Christmas. She shared that what one of her coworkers wrote about the change in attitude as we are in the 10th month of the pandemic. Her coworker wrote, "I swabbed 53 patients alone the other day out in the rain at my one job. I am exhausted. I'm overwhelmed. I didn't sign up for this when I started my career. None of us did, but I show up daily and do everything I can to still care for people with a smile. It would be nice to have respect back in return. The respect is gone. The appreciation is gone. The thank you so much for working through this has been replaced by, why is this taking so long? And I'm just here for a nose swab. This is ridiculous." The threats of calling corporate and being screamed at over the phone are at an all-time high. The annoyed eye rolls and huffy sighs when you tell them, "Shouldn't be much longer. We're doing the best we can," are starting to chip away at our morale. The free coffee and meals are a thing of the past. The hotel lights in the shape of hearts aren't on anymore. The neighbors that waved us off to work and told us to stay safe have gone back inside. The community that displayed the heroes work here signs have turned their backs on us. We are still here. We are still fighting. We are working harder than ever before. We are exhausted. We are frustrated. We are so emotionally and physically drained. We are skipping breaks. We are going in early and coming home late. We are missing time with our families. We are doing the best we can. We aren't healthcare heroes anymore. We have become slaves to this pandemic, and it's really freaking exhausting. Here's what it looks like in intensive care units all over our country when the shortage of healthcare workers leads to double shifts. And we cannot forget the lower paid staff who keep hospitals clean and sterilized day in and day out, night and day. However, hope is not lost. Not even our medical healthcare workers, nor our hospital staff. As Nancy has told me while the months have progressed, I just have to take it day by day, remembering that I have four walls around me. I have a family that loves me, treasures me, and keeps me sane. I want to share with you a video that was created with the contributions of over 200 physicians from across Canada, singing the song Ordinary Day, written by Great Big C and recorded between November and December last year. The video is meant to raise funding for the provision of adequate funding for frontline health, mental health, and addictions programs across Canada through a charity called A Dollar a Day Foundation. The power of this video for me is the hope it exudes while proclaiming they are considering each day, one day at a time, as an ordinary day. At the end of the video are instructions for how to donate.
Smile on my face, I have four walls around me. I've got the sun in the sky, all the water surround me. Oh, you know, yeah, I win now and sometimes I lose. I've been battered, but I never bruise. It's not so bad. And I say, wait, hey, it's just an ordinary day. It's all your state of mind. At the end of the day, you've just got to say it's all right. Katie sings on the corner, what keeps her from dying? Let them say what they want, she won't stop trying. She might stumble if they push her out. She might fall, but she'll never lie down. It's not so bad. And I say, wait, hey, hey, it's just an ordinary day. And it's all your state of mind. At the end of the day, you've just got to say it's all right. It's all right, it's all right. It's all right.
Here we go. In this beautiful life, there's always some sorrow. It's a double-edged knife, but there's always tomorrow. Oh, you know, it's up to you now if you sink or swim. You just keep the faith that your ship will come in. It's not so bad. And I say, hey, 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 come on, sing it.
Ordinary day, and it's all your state of mind.
Fantastic.
At the end of the day,
You've just got to say it. I say, hey, 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 it's just an ordinary day, and it's all your state of mind. At the end of the day, you've just got to say it's all right. It's all right, it's all right, it's all right. And I've got a smile on my face, and I've got four walls around me. You're awesome. Thanks very much.
name is Nicole Anders, and I'm the Artistic Director of Phoenix Chamber Choir. When we were first approached about this project, we knew we wanted to be involved, as we had already started our own physicians choir, Vox Panacea. With online rehearsals, we have helped physicians and their families manage stress, stay healthy, recharge, and engage with each other through singing. We are pleased that this National Physicians Choir can help promote the work of an organization like Dollar a Day, which supports frontline mental health and addictions programs across Canada from coast to coast. On behalf of our Phoenix family, I encourage you all to learn about the Dollar a Day Foundation and consider the impact of $1 in the hands of people who can reach those who need it most. If you would like to be part of our next Canadian Physicians Virtual Choir, please email productions@phoenixchoir.com. Together, we can make every day count.
If you wondered that beginning part, did it, that's Morse code for SOS, which is why it's so appropriate a song for those physicians who feel so overstressed, and also for people who are dealing with mental health and with addictions. They need hope. After all, for many of us, the season after Christmas is a bit of a letdown, depressing even. The cold descends, the days are overcast, the snows blow, and especially with this pandemic, we don't get out much. In fact, this is the season of Epiphany. Epiphany symbolizes the revelation of the birth of Jesus to the Magi, not as the crowning of a sovereign, but as an ordinary toddler whose potential, while unknowable to them, was filled with amazing hope and light. It is the same hope sung to us in the video we just watched. Yes, Christmas is over. Regardless, while it may be time to put away the Christmas decorations, do not put away your Christmas spirit. Keep that Christmas spirit all year. But how do we do that? The pandemic is wearing us down. The isolation is leading to ever-increasing depression, loneliness, and mental health challenges. Those who have lost their jobs, unsure if the economy will ever recover, worried they may never get a similar job again, despairing they will end up teaching their kids at home until the summer, or just deeply missing the life-giving human contact that physical distancing doesn't allow. Wonder who will rescue us? What great person will provide us with all for which we long? When can we climb to the mountaintop again to drink in that glorious pinnacle perspective? Yet I would suggest that the resources we need are with us already. I'm not interested in whether you've stood with the great. I'm interested in whether you've sat with the broken. Now, I don't want to lead you down the garden path. What I'm going to suggest requires energy to initiate. Certainly, it provides its own energizing glow, but if you're feeling down and needing a listening ear yourself, reach out for that from someone you trust. However, whether you are listening or being listened to, I would pray that this kind of respectful awareness is central. If you wish to reach out to others you know and need a listening ear, here's how to listen actively. Instead of saying, keep a stiff upper lip, a more open-ended response when you've heard their story is this: I can see you are hurting. This gives the other person permission to share more if they wish to do so. Instead of saying, it's for the best, which shuts down any further conversation, offer them this response: wow, that's really hard. You are affirming that you not only heard their story, but that you recognize the difficulty they are experiencing. If you identify with their feelings, instead of saying, I know how you feel, which turns the conversation to make it all about you, give them permission to share more of how they are feeling by saying, how are you really feeling? Such a response opens the door to delve more deeply into themselves, going deeper than the surface. One of my pet peeves is this phrase: God doesn't give you more than you can handle. Actually, God doesn't give any of us tragedy or pain or anything else. By saying this, we end up blaming them for feeling out of their depth instead of providing them with that listening ear, which provides healing. Instead, knowing that God is present always and ever, I would suggest a better response is, may I pray with you or for you? This also lets them know that even when you get off the phone or social media or texting or email, you will continue to be present with them in prayer. However, you've also asked their permission, which empowers them. Another version of my pet peeve, and something I consider religious abuse, is this: it's God's will. God doesn't wish pain or suffering on anyone. Instead, God is there to pick up the pieces, so to speak, by walking with each person through their struggles. Say instead, I'm so sorry that happened to you. This means that you are empathizing with them instead of putting them down. Often people ask for advice, but don't really want to hear it. After all, we don't know the full story, since many people do not share everything. Indeed, when people ask for advice, they usually know within themselves what the answer should be. So instead of saying, you should, whatever, I would suggest that you reply by saying, I don't know what to say. Do you want to talk or go for a walk? If not, I'll check in with you tomorrow. In this way, you give them permission to offer their own considered solution or to work it out with you as the gracious listener. If you go for a walk with them, remember to physically distance and wear a mask. Stating you'll check in with them removes the burden from them, which is often draining. Instead of saying, you'll get over this in no time, because this is actually a lie. Many people never get over suffering. They just learn to live with it, scars and all. Instead, respond with the truth. Give yourself time to heal. After all, this is an essential process for any of us. As well, don't give false assurance like this. Oh, you'll be fine. They may not be fine. Instead, we too often learn to put a nice exterior on our inner suffering, hiding our true selves from one another. This is not a healthy path for healing. I would suggest you say instead, I'm here for you. But only say this if you are willing to make the commitment. There are certain times when people over-rely on us, sharing stories with us we have heard repeatedly. Don't complain by saying, aren't you over this yet? Such a response doesn't help them at all, because everyone heals at their own pace. If you feel out of your depth, or you don't wish to hear these stories anymore, a better response might be, do you want me to ask Gord to give you a call? I myself refer people all the time. When I feel in over my head, professionals are better qualified than I am. However, I can be your next step because I have likely a little bit more specialized training in active listening. It's your choice. The reason I'm suggesting all of this is because as a community of faith, we are here for one another. As we become our own listening resource for each other, this guidance helps us to respond to those who reach out to us or to use when we check in on others. In this time of weariness and of fatigue, remember to carry the Christmas spirit into this new year, seeking the light of Christ through the listening ears of others we trust, or by providing an actively listening ear for those who need us. This is how we weave healing into our community, into our living. This is the same mutual support my former wife, Nancy, relies on with her coworkers. Let us heal one another in Christ's name. In Banff, Alberta, even in the middle of the second wave of this pandemic, even while hospital intensive care units are stressed and overcrowded, people take a moment to reflect, finding comfort, strength, and hope through a daily tradition at the United Church there. As you listen to the bells peal their chimes of praise and of good news, As you hear the melody for Amazing Grace, ringing out assurance of God's presence in the midst of all that we are feeling and enduring, allow your heart to open to God's healing power as you pray along. Amen. Because amazing grace is indeed our blessing. I want to share with you a Celtic blessing for patience written by Ian Tweedale. In this pandemic time and within the disruption we are all experiencing in so many ways, despite COVID fog and our fearfulness of what the future may bring, I find this blessing to be a powerful yet gentle statement of hope. If a mist descends to obscure the way, with time it will become clear. If the path is overgrown today, with time it will reappear. If the tide is too low to make sail, with time it will float you clear. And if you put your trust in me, with time you will lose your fear. May you go into this week with confidence and with hope. Until next week, stay safe and stay well. Goodbye.